Good morning, class. My name is Paul Kunish. I'm doing my final persuasive speech on why the legal drinking age in America should be lowered to 18. There are a few laws in America which bother me. One in particular is a law which specifies the legal drinking age. As we all know, we have to be 21 here to enjoy the forbidden fruit of an alcoholic beverage. Am I seriously the only person who thinks there's a crazy contradiction between being able to buy a gun in many states, use tobacco and nicotine products, get married and drive but not under any circumstances, not even after the birth of your third child, after you get married at 16? Being able, legally at least, to pop into the bar with your friends and enjoy a nice, beneficial glass of wine or champagne. Am I the only one that thinks someone has lost the plot here, and that alcohol is undeserving of this degree of antipathy? After all, guns kill instantly. Are they safer in the hands of an 18-year-old, or in Vermont apparently a 16-year-old, than a glass of wine? Nicotine has no health benefits. It may not kill you instantly, but no one has ever suggested that it does any good. So are cigarettes, for example, safer in the hands of an 18-year-old than a glass of wine? Marriage. There's an interesting one. You are perhaps thinking that I would have had a hard time arguing that marriage is inherently dangerous, but actually I can. Marriage is psychologically dangerous for 16-year-olds who are usually not old enough to sustain a healthy adult relationship. Marriage is also dangerous for the children born to the youthful, unprepared, uninformed parents. Yes, children can be born without a marriage taking place, but surely making marriage between two kids acceptable in the eyes of the law simply makes it easier for the same kids to up and take the parenthood plunge, when perhaps waiting would be more prudent. Driving certainly is dangerous. How many tragic stories of teenage deaths on the road have we all heard? In all these cases, I, of course, concede that there are 18-year-olds and even 16-year-olds who are mature enough to do all these things, but it is rare. Anyway, if they are mature enough, why shouldn't they buy a drink too? So, I am here to argue that drinking is not the evil it is set up to be in this country, and it is perfectly acceptable and reasonable for young adults to legally buy and enjoy the occasional beverage. In researching the law in the U.S., I found out some interesting facts, namely that alcohol is often allowed on a state-by-state basis in private places, i.e. your home, and religious establishments, for job-related purposes, and for medical reasons. But still, keeping that magical buying age to 21 still seems ridiculous to me. The first point I would like to discuss centers around the fact that the drinking age in Europe is usually 18, but sometimes 16. Typically in Europe, there's less of binge drinking than in America. That is the major detrimental factor of making young adults wait until they are 21. As Aaron White, assistant professor at Duke University Medical Center, says in an article written by William Cohan for CNN in March 2014, highly excessive drinking is more common in America and on their college campuses than in any other countries. In Europe, adults and even kids are used to having wine, sometimes watered down or beer at dinner, and even being offered these alcohol beverages during special events or parties. In America, even if parents do offer their children the occasional glass of something alcoholic, it is so frowned down upon that it generally goes down like that proverbial ton of bricks. Consequently, while in Europe, an alcoholic beverage is simply a drink. Here in the US, it seems as something forbidden, exciting, naughty. Young adults offered such drinks therefore get carried away with the enthusiasm of doing something they perceive to be wrong, and subsequently totally overdo it. I would argue that this would simply happen far less if alcohol was treated with less fear and overdone abhorrence. My second point is simply that, like anything else, a hormone-charged, angst-driven, excitable young adult will find a way to drink if he or she wants to, especially after the age of 18, when most young people perceive themselves to be adults, capable, of course, of making their own decisions. Forcing these young adults to hide their drinking activities to sneak around is once again pushing them into the mindset that they are doing something naughty rather than making perfectly reasonable adult decisions about what they choose to drink. Again, I have to reiterate my point about the fact that they are already allowed to publicly buy and enjoy those notoriously unhealthy tobacco products I mentioned earlier. The third point I would like to raise also builds from my disgust at the horribly mixed up craziness of the tobacco versus guns versus alcohol laws. Alcohol in moderation is good for you. In this nation of fast food and sugar-laden sodas, and in which, oh yes, can set you up for a heart attack, by the way, it seems to me that alcohol is simply suffering from some really stupid propaganda. In fact, I can't even keep track of the studies which proclaim how good an occasional alcoholic beverage is for you. For example, Harvard researchers in 1992 stated that moderate alcohol consumption is one of the 8 proven ways to reduce coronary heart disease. The last time I checked, one could not say the same for soda, Big Macs, or cigarettes. After extensive research, the only argument I can find for keeping the legal drink age at 21 is a theory that the newly fledged teenage drivers mostly get into accidents because of their alcoholic intake. To this argument, I say 2 things. 1, those that drink and drive do so for a multitude of reasons, but within those reasons, I believe lack of knowledge concerning the effects of alcohol should be listed. This would be combated if those same young adults were already au fait what that alcohol could do to them, and also the thought of alcoholic drinks as well. Just drinks and not as forbidden fruit. 2, the same researcher, William Cohan from CNN, quoted earlier, suggests that, along with a lowering of the drinking age, a zero-tolerance policy must be put in place for anything approaching driving while intoxicated. In Brazil, for instance, it is illegal to drive with even a trace of an amount of alcohol in the bloodstream. In the United States, the 0.08% threshold should be abandoned in favor of zero tolerance. Exactly. Good point, William. So in summary, the United States alcoholic consumption age is ludicrous. Either treat those younger than 21-year-olds as babies and take away their rights to own a gun, buy tobacco products, move out of the home, let alone set up a house as a married person, drive, and work. Or just let them have a legal drink. The first option is obviously ridiculous, so that just leaves one choice. Cheers. Thank you all for listening. I enjoyed the semester. I hope you liked the speech. Thanks.